Looks like it's live. Long time no see, guys. Let's see who still has notifications turned on after all these years. We're gonna find out who the real ones are today. Cause it's been what? Almost a full year. I was thinking about it this morning. When's the last time I went live? I'm pretty sure that was like I know it was winter, so it was at least like 12 months ago. It feels like. But hope everybody's doing well this Saturday. As you can tell from the title of this live stream, I want to talk about the uh, the shooting that happened in Kansas City over the past week. What is on Tuesday? First and foremost, let me just say, that was obviously tragic and sad and unnecessary. Um, it sucks. It really does because people were going out to have a good time and celebrate their team, which I hate because I'm a Broncos fan. But nonetheless, I mean, violence broke out. Now, you guys know nothing surprises me anymore, so I'm not shocked to find out that the media is trying to bury the story already. They're slowly moving beyond it. Of course, they're still talking about it, but the framing has changed, right? You know that the whole narrative has shifted. The headlines have shifted. Because it doesn't fit their narrative. You know, it doesn't fit their narrative that if we just had more laws in place, criminals would stop breaking laws, right? Which really translates to if we just made it harder for law-abiding citizens to own firearms, there would be no more shootings. And then they like to cite all the statistics, like, look, we're the only developed nation in the world that has mass shooting problems and blah 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 blah. They keep going back to narratives that support gun control, even when something like this doesn't fit their narrative. So I just want to read this tweet really quick from our commander in thief. The day after the shooting happened, he goes, "Yesterday's events in Kansas City should move us into action. How many more families need to be torn apart? It's time for Congress to finally act to ban assault weapons, limit high capacity magazines, strengthen background checks, and keep guns out of the hands of those who have no business owning them." The only problem with that is these were two teenagers. So they already got those guns, obtained those guns illegally. So tell me what law would have prevented teenage thugs from getting guns? Oh, by the way, did you know that it's already illegal to discharge a firearm in a crowded space? Did you know that? Did you know that it's illegal to kill people? But yet you got headlines now like the shooting in Kansas City stemmed from a dispute between multiple people. You know why the headlines have changed? They're like, oh, two teenagers are in custody for the shooting and they're being charged with gun crimes. That's what they're being charged with. At least that's what it said. One person was killed, so they should be charged with murder. But the problem is, they can't blame a white man in an AR-15 for this shooting because if they could, they would be talking about it way differently. They won't even release the names of the suspects. I assume because it's their teenagers, right? Wrong, because if these were white teenagers, we would know where they live, who they went to school with. We'd see their pictures plastered all over social media, but you're not going to see this. They're going to bury it. And the virtue signaling that I've seen on social media is just it's insufferable. People like Kurt Warner and all these Robert Griffin III. A lot of NFL athletes have come out to speak out about it. Of course, Mr. Pfizer has something to say about it. I was just waiting for him to say something about gun control, but he hasn't yet. And all the other people, the blue check marks, the high profile, the names with the people that have like millions of followers or whatever, they're the ones talking about gun control. Like, first of all, again, gun control is not going to solve the problem. If you have gun control, all that means is people like me, it's going to be harder for me to get a gun. It's going to be harder for you to get a gun. Criminals are always going to have guns. If you want to stop guns from flowing into the hands of criminals, you might want to lock down that border because that would go a long way to doing that. Because, I don't want to make any mistake about this. I don't think criminals should be walking around the streets with guns, but you don't know who's a criminal, so it's kind of a slippery slope. But at the same time, you can't take guns away from law-abiding citizens. But back to the whole, this doesn't fit the narrative. They can't blame a white man and an AR-15. Instead, it's two black teenage thugs that were shooting in public. That's the real story. That's the headline. That's what it is. They're black, they're teenagers, they're thugs, and they were shooting in public. And you never hear people care about mass shootings because there was just one in Brooklyn, I think, somewhere in New York, Brooklyn. Six people shot in subway, one killed. That's a mass shooting by definition, but there's no virtue signaling, there's no headlines, there's no platitudes about Congress must act. You don't hear it, right? Because it doesn't support their agenda to grab guns. Somebody's hearing me. What's up, Paint the Trump? My guy Jeff. Got to get back down there and get on one of those street corners, man. Do some more flag waving. That was fun. Good times. Um, but yeah, if you're just tuning in, I'm just talking about how this this mass shooting that they're talking about in Kansas City is being buried as we speak because two black teenagers were behind the shooting and they obtained the guns illegally. So it just, a lot of people were saying at first, this looks like a false flag because the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl. You know, that whole theory of like Taylor Swift is going to get Joe Biden reelected because she helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, which I think is a crazy, stupid narrative because if people are going to vote for this man, this decrepit man who's nosediving towards the earth cognitively, if people are going to have their votes swayed based on Taylor Swift, then we're screwed anyway. If people haven't felt enough pain, then we're screwed anyway. We have bigger fish to fry. But anyway, some people are saying this is a false flag shooting. I don't think so. If it were, there would have been a racist manifesto left behind. It would have been a white dude, and it would have been an AR-15. Those are the three check marks, right? White supremacist, check. Manifesto, check. AR-15, check. If you see any of those, not to say all of those are false flags, but if you see that, the chances of it being the feds are much higher than two black teenagers in a city that already has a lot of shootings. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I see it. It's not that deep. It's not a false flag. It was just an unfortunate shooting that the media could, unfortunately for them, not hijack. Politicians could only hijack until they found out the shooters were black, and now they're walking it back or, just pivoting to something else. But make no mistake about it, this is an election year, so we're going to see something. They're going to come with something else that does fit the narrative, that does throw some red meat out to the gun grabbers, like, yep, Congress must act, we're going to do this now, ban assault weapons, blah, blah, blah. They're going to get that. Unfortunately, this is 2024. I hope it's not a carbon copy of 2020, but it's an election year nonetheless, so we're going to see chaos. What's up, Charles Turner? Appreciate you. Let me get into these comments real quick. Since it's been a year, I need to do a little bit of interacting real quick before I get out of here. I'm going to run some errands. This is actually going to be short. Assault weapons, you mean like this? Somebody posted a fist, a pickaxe, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Assault weapon. What does that even mean, man? It's funny, man. Like there's so many angles to attack the gun grab argument, right? I mean, it actually makes my brain hurt to think about somebody who would want no guns in a society that already has guns. It is what it is. Like guns are going to be here. There's more guns than people in the country. So because that's what we have, you're never going to confiscate all the guns ever. The very least you can have is more good people walking around with guns because that's the only way to stop a bad person with a gun. Hence why cops carry guns. So even the people who want to grab guns the most still rely on guns for protection because if their stance is, well, we don't keep guns in the house, we don't like guns. Well, if someone breaks in your house, what are you going to do? You're calling somebody with a gun to come and protect you. So that doesn't make sense. You might as well protect yourself. But guns are always going to be here. It just hurts my brain to think about people that actually don't want them at all. I mean, In the fact that guns are blamed for murders. They never blame the shooter, right? It's crazy, right? If you found out somebody shot a dog, you'd be like, you're evil. But if you found out they shot a person, they'd be like, guns are evil. The logic just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. I think people are kind of screwed up in the head. Unfortunately, I think just from so many shootings, and so it's like they've repeated it. The repetition is kind of like ingrained it in the subconscious mind, and so people just kind of speak out and say stuff that when they look at it in hindsight, like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to blame a gun, just like you don't blame a car for a drunk driver. I mean, you could just go on and on. Nice to see you again. We miss you at Right Side Broadcasting, RSBN, more like RS Brian. I think he's like the only one on that network anymore. Mike, miss you. Hope we see you more in videos in the future. Hope you and your family are doing well. Yeah, let me tell you about that. Yeah, I got a 2.5-year-old, and baby number 2 is on the way. So that's the announcement here. A little baby girl coming in August. So uh, you won't be getting me back full time anytime soon. I'll tell you that much. But it would be nice to do these live streams a little more frequently. It's just a lot. A lot is there's always stuff going on, right? There's always a reason or a topic I could cover. It's just I did it consistently for so many years straight that it just kind of I don't know. I don't really know how to describe it, but it brought me down so much just focusing on the negativity. I had more fun when Trump was in office, and I was focusing more on the wins and the direction our country was going, which I felt like was positive. So what you focus on kind of expands, and it can affect your mood. So when I was focused on like positive, happy things, look at the economy, look at the jobs, no wars, all that, that to me was more fun. Even though I did still cover like some negative events, there was more positive to counterbalance it. But now I feel like it's just all negative, and it really wore me down. So between having a family and some other things going on, life changes, I couldn't really do it anymore. But I would like to do more consistently. Just it won't be on a daily basis or a weekly basis like before. Great to see you again, Mike. Thank you for the super chat from Beefy McWhort now. Beefy McWhat now? Mike, where you been? I haven't gotten any notifications from you in about a year. I hope all is well, brother. God bless you and watch over you. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. God bless you too. I just, you haven't got any notifications from me in a year because I haven't been live in like a year. But there's so many topics I could cover. This one just jumped out at me. I just felt like I felt compelled to say something. Didn't need to overspeak it because we've seen this before. We know how it works. If the shooter is black, the whole headline, the whole storyline, the whole discussion, and the talk track around that particular shooting is different than if it is a white person. Then you factor in the gun. If it is an AR-15, that is like a buzzword. It's like Pavlov's dogs. When they hear white shooter, AR-15, the whole talk track is different. It's more amped up. The rhetoric is more venomous towards one race of people, and they go after guns harder. But when you find out it's black teenagers, I mean, that's just an average weekend in Kansas City, or week, average day, And then they always like to say, you can't go here without a mass shooting. They list out all the places mass shootings happen. But you know what? They don't ever mention you can't go to a house party on a Saturday night in Chicago without getting shot, because we know today is Saturday. There's probably going to be a house party shooting in Chicago, in Philly, in Baltimore, St. Louis, all these places where guns are rampant, and oftentimes those places have the strictest gun laws. So make that one make sense for me, huh? Anyway, Gracious Love says, yep, focus on your family. The circus is beyond a shit show. It is. It just is. Like, another reason I couldn't continue talking about politics is like, everyone can see that Joe Biden sucks. Do I need to make a video every day talking about, look, here's what he did this time. Here's what he did today. Look, he's fumbling over his words here. It's like, I said it enough times, and I was saying that even before he got rigged in there, you know. So I just, you know, I can't do it. Luciano, I saw something regarding Don Jr. Has anyone read about it? Nope, I haven't. I sure haven't. Um, where you been, homie? Good to see you. I've just been, you know, taking care of my family, taking care of my family, just trying to live life, you know. Like I said a few minutes ago, just politics is so heavy. It was more fun when I felt like the country was in a good spot and going in the right direction because I could focus on that. But now all there's focus on is the current state of affairs, and it's not positive. And the future honestly looks bleak. It really does. Like even if Trump gets back in, it still feels like things are bleak. And to be honest, one man isn't going to save us. We only have one savior, Jesus Christ. That's it. The world is bleak. But if you focus on the earth, that's a different vibe, right? There's, you know what I mean? You picking up what I'm putting down? The earth is different than the world. The earth is like birds, trees, nature, ocean, that kind of stuff, and just God's creations. But the world is the Taylor Swift stuff. It's the propaganda. It's the Grammys. It's the distractions, the things that don't matter, the money, all that stuff. Charles, man, my dog. Appreciate you. Charles says, God bless you and your family, Mike. Hope Roman is excited to be a big brother. He is. He is. He's excited to be a big brother. Truth be told, I did want him to have a brother, but he's gonna have a sister. You know, I always pictured me having two sons, and I suppose I still could. And you know, it's true, I could, but I don't know. I think this is probably it. Maxing out at two. It's up to us, we the people. Yes, it really is. But um, yeah, I think I pretty much said all I have to say as far as that shooting. It's just so it's so obvious. Like it doesn't anger me anymore. It used to anger me when I would find out the media's lying. Look at this. Look at, they're covering up their story. Look, it doesn't. It still bothers me, but I don't get angry anymore. I expect it. It's easier to point out. Like I knew from the very minute that they were not disclosing who the shooters were right away. I'm like, okay, it obviously is not something that they feel is gonna generate outrage beyond the fact that it's a shooting. So maybe it's you know, an immigrant or a black person or something, and then you find out, yep, there's no racist manifesto, there was no AR-15, and oh, by the way, these were black teenage thugs who were underage and couldn't have got a gun legally anyway. So it doesn't support stricter gun laws if they got those guns illegally. Period. So I just had to speak out on it, but yeah, guys, I appreciate it. I am actually gonna go take care of some things right now, but I just wanted to do a quick live stream check in with you guys because it's been some time. It's been a year. Last time I did this, I think I was wearing a beanie too. But appreciate everyone that tuned in to this quick little live stream. If you would please smash the like button. I'm still gonna promote the channel, even though I don't make videos that often. But please just like the video if you can. Like it so more people can see it, I guess, and then share it, of course. And I promise, guys, I'm going to try to do more live streams this year. And I feel like it's inevitable because, like I said a few minutes ago, we're in the middle of an election year, actually just starting an election year. We're only in the middle of February. So there's going to be more to talk about, more to that's going to come out, more things that are going to pique my interest or make me want to speak out and say something. So you'll hear from me again this year. That's for sure, because it's an election year. It'll be anything but boring, and just hope that it turns out the way that we need it to. Not even the way we want it to, the way we need it to. So with that said, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Give it a thumbs up. God bless you. I will catch you in the next live stream.